Last year, exactly on this date, I remember looking at myself and just couldn't stand the reflection of the person I was looking at. And maybe you've been there too. This podcast is a gentle space to talk about the feelings we usually keep quiet about, the moments of doubt about oneself and other people, and the deepest and darkest subtle truths that few dare to talk about. Together, we learn how to speak to ourselves with kindness, even when it feels impossible. By diving deep into raw emotions of self hate, we'll try to understand them, challenge them, and begin the journey towards self love.
All right. So I noticed something while I was doing my shift at work, and I noticed how kind of ironic this situation was. And what I'm talking about is that the company that I work for promotes very much confidence and aspiring, being very truthful to yourself and spreading confidence across the world and being your true self, right? This is kind of what the company wants to pour out to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
But then the people that I work with might just be some of the most insecure people that I have met about every aspect about themselves. Someone wants to get their nose changed. Someone doesn't like the way their eyes look. Someone doesn't like the way their body looks. Anything and everything. They have a problem with something about themselves.
Right.
Which again, very ironic given where we work. And that brought up this concept of self-hate to me, being that how is it that in a company that promotes self-love, we are littered with employees that all they portray is self-hate.
Honestly, this is so interesting, and even before I can go on talking about this, what I'm interested in is knowing, were these all women?
Oh, what do you think? Do you think these were all women?
Probably yes, because when you started mentioning someone wanted to get their nose changed, or probably insecurities that they had, I have a bit of a strong feeling, you could say, that these were probably women.
Well, you would be right. These are all women.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I guess it's kind of crazy that no one would ever say that about a man, right? No man wants to get their nose changed.
Yeah.
It's a very telling sign that I'm speaking about women. But yeah, I mean, this is one sign, right? You'd say immediately you link it to women, as you were able to tell.
Yeah.
Are there any other signs that you can think of that would signal, I guess, a woman dealing with self-hate?
Okay. Even before I answer this, I have one question for you. What do you think? Like, have you ever found flaws with anyone that you've come across in your life? And if so, how many times?
I can't give you a number. It's not something I tend to do very often. Like, oh, this person has this flaw. Let me note it down. This other person has that flaw. No. So I'd say no. I don't really notice flaws in people. At least not that I can think of currently.
That's interesting, but because sometimes people who usually find flaws with things, with people around, they're the ones who are carrying a very high level of self-hate within themselves. Because what's interesting about this is projection onto the other person. And like the day when I was exposed about the concept of projection and how we project our insecurities onto other people, and we think, oh, well, you know, the thing that I am insecure about, I think the person is like that. Even if, because, okay, just to give you an example of the people who might not know what we're exactly talking about, and when projection happens, say for instance, you are someone who would lie to anybody just to save that relationship, right? Not with the wrong intention, but just like, you know, I didn't want it to hurt that person, that's why I just lied. And if one of your friends walked up to you, right, and she was lied by someone else. She was lied to by someone else, please correct us. You would probably again say the same thing. Oh, well, you know, that person won't have intended to break your heart, but just to save that relationship, lied to you. This is the strongest level of projection that happens. We see the world through our lens.
Yeah.
And really tearing it down, because sometimes you feel like, oh yeah, people can argue and they can say, well, I feel the energy of the person. Yes, I'm also someone who does, but we really need to be mindful how much of our own insecurities we project onto others. And I think the more self-hate we carry within ourselves, it's easier to find flaws with other people rather than with ourselves. How many of us can really, we know our weaknesses, but how easier is it for us to work on ourselves? We are very quick to say, oh, if you would have changed, this relationship would have improved.
Yeah.
So I still feel like the more bitter you feel from the inside, even if you do not, and the classic example of this is how you talk to yourself. Just imagine a scenario if you wake up in the morning and you're probably late. How often we go and we use certain words for ourselves and be like, hey, how come you woke up so late, you're so dumb ass, and now the whole day is screwed up because of you. Like, these are the inner thoughts that we have. This is the inner voice that starts talking to us. And that's why being in our company is so, it's something people don't like.
Yeah.
There was an interesting study which found that people were ready to take electric shocks way more than the opportunity of being able to sit with themselves, because the inner voice is too harsh, it's so critical, that it's far better that I should get a physical harm rather than being with a voice which is tearing me down every minute, every second. And that's one of the classic and common signs that you can see is how we talk to ourselves.
Do you think that our way of internalizing the self-hate towards ourselves, plus this concept of projecting our own emotions onwards to other women, do you think this contributes to how women tend to compete against each other rather than support each other?
Honestly, I would say yes, because most of the times you've usually seen women, I mean, it's not very, it's not done in an active way. It's a very, very passive, and there's research out there which talks about passive aggression among women, bitching about someone or probably spreading rumors or singling someone out.
Yeah.
Passing comments, sarcastic remarks, all of these are examples of how women compete and carry a sense of animosity, even if it's not physically visible. They might be like, hey, passing warm smiles, but that warmth, is it really felt? Is it genuine, or is it just something you're masking inside? And when you talk about competing and how, society encourages women to compete, I'm not talking about people within the society, but it's a structure.
Yeah.
Which is set up that way. It's not about any specific community that we're talking about here. And I'm going to tear it down and bring it down to the three important facets, which are the major contributors. One of them is the scarcity mindset.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is comparison yardstick. And the third one is feeling of incompleteness.
Okay.
Let me give you an example on this. Say, for the scarcity mindset, women are usually taught like, oh, there's a scarcity of jobs, there's a scarcity of a beauty standard, you have to be the most beautiful looking woman on this planet, and you have to get the best job, and you have to be the best wife, you have to be a best mother. So that best thing. Now, when you talk about best, what do you mean by best? Is it best among the lot that you have around, or best each day in terms of your own version? But most of us, we fall into the fallacy and this belief, I have to be best than the people who are around me.
Yeah.
Rather than being the best version of myself each day. Oh, well, that's pretty hard. That's something I cannot work on. And once you fall into this trap, it's very easy. This leads to comparison. Mm-hmm. Comparison yardstick I was talking about. Because you're coming with the mindset of scarcity. I need it. I need to grab. Because if I do not, someone else is going to take it.
Yeah.
And with that comparison, people compare their partners, women compare their children with one another. Oh, your kid is doing way better than mine. Or they're going to compare incomes, they're going to compare status, they're going to compare... I mean, it's so funny. If someone walks into a social gathering, they're going to compare their looks, the way they're dressed. Mm-hmm. Or probably, she got a dress from this brand. I'm going to get a better brand from her, and then probably flaunt it and get the appreciation and the validation that I'm seeking for from the society, which is another thing that leads to a feeling of incompleteness. We always have this thing, we have to fix ourselves, we have to make ourselves look complete. Motherhood is something that women are sold into this concept that if they're not mothers, they're not a complete woman. there are different ways. If you really want to nurture, there are ways of doing that. It's not always by becoming a mother that you can nurture people.
I'm gonna latch on to this concept of motherhood first. Do you think what children learn through modeling, right? We've seen this in research, we know this. Do you think unintentionally women are passing down this self-hatred to their children, specifically young girls, shaping their minds from a young age, right? Children are very observant. What is your take on this?
I think 100% there's a very, very strong contributing factor. And this happens subtly, even if you do not intend, even if you have your good interest in your mind, because the society fed you with that concept which they thought was good.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's actually doing more harm than good. How many of young girls, like how many of them actually grow up watching their mothers doing makeovers and getting branded stuff and getting their nails done and things like that, just in a way to not to treat themselves, but then asking their partners, hey, how am I looking? I got a new nice haircut. The kid is observing you every time. And there's where the child learns, well, the kid might not question, or probably even if they do, they're asked to just shut up.
Yeah.
And we indulge in behaviors without even knowing that we're doing it. How many of women, if we let them know, like, you could have worked on this area or you could have improved, they start victimizing themselves. But I was trying to be best wife, I was trying to be best partner, I was trying to be best sister. Yeah. But all I got is criticism. And it's very easy, and they go into this victimization mode so quickly. Mm-hmm. And this is how we pass on to our kids. Like, for instance, if a daughter walks up to her mother and be like, hey mom, I wish you could just change certain ways of being and probably not checking too much on me. The mother starts victimizing herself. Yeah. And that's what your daughter is going to learn. The victimization piece is too high, that our sense of worth, and we always have this feeling of completeness from the society, completeness from the validation, from the appreciation. That's not going to happen always. But you and your soul is your biggest partner, which is going to stay with you throughout life. And that's the problem. Again, the inner voice is too harsh, that I don't want to sit with myself and I keep looking outside. And that's how we are unintentionally passing our own insecurities. We're projecting them onto our young children, and that's how the cycle begins.
How do you think we can break this cycle? As we pass it down, we're just reinforcing it more and more throughout our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. It keeps going. It's never going to end. What are your thoughts on breaking this cycle? What needs to be done?
I feel like the first way is self-awareness, which is extremely, extremely underrated concept. And many people are just talking about self-awareness. Oh yeah, yes, I'm feeling this kind of an emotion. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling depressed. Well, yeah, that's right. That's a way of moving towards self-awareness. But I think it has way more than just labeling your emotions or being able to exercise regulation or something like that. But it goes deeper in terms of who you are as a person. What do you want in this life? I was having this discussion and the other day, and one of the things that came up is like, we've got a social structure which was sold to us way early in life. Getting a good job, finding a partner. Most of the women usually tend to receive these comments like, oh, haven't you found someone?
Yeah.
Haven't you got a job? When are you planning to settle? Without even giving a second thought, do I need it? And when do I need it? These are the questions. These are very strong questions. And we just we don't want to even sit with those questions because we feel like it's just too overwhelming. And we are like, well, someone else can take those decisions for me. I don't want to take those. If you do not take responsibility for your own life, I think it's very easy for this cycle to continue. And one of the strongest ways to break this is to be your best partner. We always look for the ideal partner. I think one should learn how to be the best ideal partner for themselves first.
So you spoke about self-awareness, right? What's one way, if you're willing to share with us, what's one way you think you were honest to yourself? What's one way you were like, you faced a lie that you were told and that was such a core belief for you, and then you finally came to a realization to it? How?
I honestly, It's a very strong question, and it really makes me think a couple of things which were sold to me way early on in terms of the person I was, or one of the strongest things I heard about myself was not being lovable. And I used to live by that kind of lie, I would say now. Because it was someone's insecurity which was being projected onto me. That's the thing. We fail to. A child cannot know those things.
No.
Right? When you're a child, you do not even understand. Oh, well, yeah, probably I'm not. I'm not worthy enough. I'm not lovable enough. And when people started loving me, I was like, oh, am I? Do I deserve this? Is this person just pretending?
Yeah.
Is that person just acting? Like, I was like, it really took me a lot of time to really understand and believe. And when it started happening from multiple people, when I started receiving, like, not to again, drive myself by the validation or the appreciation I received, but honestly, even like taking a stand for myself, I realized, well, I am lovable, I'm worthy enough, and learning to really stand up when required was when I realized that no, I think I was just sold this concept and it doesn't apply to me. And there's always an opportunity to rewire, to unlearn the behaviors that we've learned as kids. So
For sure. And to be able to do that, we need to be self-aware.
exactly, and
It's not gonna happen.
that took me a lot of time. Like, I was not someone who used to be self-aware. I was also operating in the similar cycle, and it isn't like something serious has happened and that I'm into this spiritual awakening or into this path. But one of the things was I realized nobody else knows about you as much as you do.
Yeah.
And nobody else can console you, can be empathetic as much as you can be, and you are your best friend. Because believe me or not, we came all alone, we're going to go all alone, and that's not something spiritual, that's an absolute reality.
Yes.
I'm not talking about something which is philosophy. So this entire journey, even if you're being with someone, even your family, they need their own time, they're going to do their own things. You cannot always be like, hey, or your partner, let's go everywhere, let's explore everything. They're going to do their own stuff. And then again, you're left with this feeling of incompleteness, you're left with the feeling of unworthiness. Your worthiness comes from within, not from outside. You can have someone to share your journey of life, but even your family is sharing that journey with you. But attaching that identity with them, well, that's something where the issues actually...
For sure. Solitude is definitely something people struggle with.
And that's what is required, because that's why inner voice is so harsh and critical, because you've never taken a time and be like, hold a hand with that voice and be like, hey, how are you doing? It's not something crazy, it's actually worth practicing.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. It's difficult, but I think people need to realize that it's definitely something that needs to be done, that needs to be spoken about, and that it's extremely important. Despite, at first glance, people might think, oh, this is stupid. No way this helps, right?
Yeah.
But this is just, no, try it out. It's harder than it looks, and it's definitely more impactful than
Exactly, and especially for women who are always into this trap. Oh, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not attractive, I'm not confident, I cannot search things on my own, I cannot drive, I'm not a good mother, I'm not a good wife, I'm not a good daughter, or whatever. All these statements that we use for ourselves, please, please, please switch it to I can try. I can try. Keep saying that to yourself.
Yeah.
Because at least, because that's the reason why people struggle with positive affirmations. Because they think if they are playing small, they are being humble, they are being modest. And that's the reason.
I'm going to stop you there. I really like what you said there. So, given your experiences, I'm going to ask you, do you think you have ever masked self-hate as humility or modesty?
For sure, I used to do it. As a kid, I still remember, like, you've scored so well and stuff like that. And I'd be like, no, it's just, just happened. Just luck factor, or you're so good with these things. And I would just brush it off by saying, well, no, I'm just fine. I'm not someone, who deserves this.
Yeah.
And most of the time we all do it to ourselves, because if someone receives a praise, they'll be like, no, it's just, I don't deserve this, or it's okay. But the fact is, if you're saying that, even if internally you might know, well, yes, I know I'm good,
Yeah.
right? I might downplay and be like, yeah, well, I know, you don't have to tell me. But I'm not going to say to the other person, hey, you better don't tell me that I'm good with this. But the fact is, when you downplay and you say stuff to yourself, which is like, oh, well, no, I don't deserve or something, your brain is listening to you. And the brain doesn't know the difference between what is true and what is false. So if you keep on saying yourself, I'm not attractive, I'm not good enough, I'm not confident, and even if after a certain achievement you again downplay it, your brain is listening to you and gives
For
you the
sure.
reasons. Well, yeah.
I mean,
If you-
repetition, right?
Exactly. Because one thing that you can, honestly, going home, you can try this. While you're driving back home, notice all the heart-shaped things that you can notice while you're driving back. Could be a logo, could be a leaf, heart-shaped leaf, or could be a purse or anything on your way back home, and you're going to see your brain is going to give you the entire list of the heart-shaped things. It's entirely the focus that you plot on.
Yeah.
And the brain is going to give you the reasons. It's going to give you, okay, well, yeah, you asked me to find the heart-shaped things. Here it is. While you're driving, I think this is the most common example people have heard of. When you get a car from whatever, like you purchase a new car,
Yeah.
probably it's red colored. You're going to start noticing all the red colored cars.
So
on
many
the road,
red
right?
cars all of a sudden.
Did they started appearing right in front of you, or is it because your brain is giving you the reason and justifying?
Yeah.
You asked, you were thinking about the red cars, so here I'm bringing the red cars in front of you. Because now the brain is focusing on finding out and navigating only those things that you want to focus on. So it's exactly with how we deal with ourselves. Keep on saying stuff to yourself, which is like, I put on more weight, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. The brain is going to give you the reasons. Well, you said you're not worthy, here's the reason, you're a failure. And the more we repeat this cycle, the harder it becomes to really sit with our inner voice.
So we've been talking for a while now.
Yeah.
So let me leave you with this one question to reflect on. What do you think is one way or one tool that women specifically could use to battle this cycle of self-hate, to finally, how would they stop it? How would they break it? How would they derive from the norm? How would they stop this immediate thought that they have of self-hate?
That's really an interesting question indeed.